So this is a little stove mounting tray that I'm making. It'll hinge under the sink and the stove will sit on top of it, and then it'll fold out when I want to use the stove. This is my jack plate that I made. I need to lower the motor by 3 inches, so this extends out. It'll extend the motor out at a grand total of about 8 inches from where it was mounted. And just wait till the varnish dries and I'll be able to put it on. This is a regular screening, fiberglass screening that I'm going to be adding to the back. So the first step I do is I get it centered up at the top, and then tape the bottom edge right along where I want it to drop to, and next I will be pulling it up at the top, fastening it up there. Along the edges I'm planning just to use some goop, glue it to the nylon. Hopefully that will hold. If it doesn't hold, I'll have to figure out a plan. Here's a piece of trim I have up at the top. The screen will be going behind that, then I'll be screwing it in place and then tacking the screen with a bit of glue. I put the steering cable out through another opening just because the way it was coming out before from under here, it was just too much of a kink in order to get it out to where it needs to go. So I decided, nah, cut a hole. I might be able to dress that hole up later, but that's what I need to do. So I finished my wooden jack plate, and the motor is now 3 inches lower. I put it on an 8-degree angle, and that will allow me to play with the tilt of the motor just to fine-tune the performance. I added a little safety chain just in case anything happens. It's just there for safety. And I have the steering cable coming out through a different access point. Didn't really want to do that, but maybe I could get some sort of a rubber membrane to go across that. I've got my screen tacked to my tarp with some goop, and I'm using magnets to just to help clamp it in place, and then I'll have to move the magnets tomorrow and redo some more spots. I'm not sure how that'll turn out, but we'll find out.
So I am gluing the screen to the tarp. I'll have to do it to an auxiliary piece of tarp because I need to extend it. But I'm using my neodymium magnets as clamps. And on the other side I have another magnet. So got a very flexible surface. It gives good clamping force. And I just use some little scrap pieces of tarp so I don't glue the magnets down. Well, I have my new QUCC battery management system. It's rated for 200 amps, and it'll do 7S to 20S, so you can configure it as you wish. I'm setting it for 16S. So the first thing you do is on their home page, I bought this one through AliExpress, and so if you go to the AliExpress or wherever you buy it and you click on the QUCC logo for buying it, it'll pull up all the specs and the wiring, etc. And just go down to whatever one you're going to be needing. I'm going to need the 16S wiring method, and you can see here
the first connector is all individuals, and then on the second connector 1 to 5 is connected as 1, 6 is 1, and then 7 and 8 go together as 1. So follow your drawing, make sure you have it correct, and then you're going to have to crimp on the end of these. I need 1/4 inch lugs, and so you crimp all 16, and the next step will be to be wiring this onto the batteries and then buzzing it out or doing a voltage measurement. So the QUCC, what makes it different from the others, it's less expensive for one thing, but it has a huge relay inside, and when it reaches that limit where for charging limit or discharging limit, or whatever the issue is over current, that will trip. Now, I've read reviews, and pros and cons. One of the problems is when it's tripped, say from an over discharge, you cannot charge back through it. Well, I'm not quite sure about that, but I think there is a bleed through resistor that will allow some current to go through. But anyways, that's not my concern, because this will meet my needs perfectly. Here's my battery bank, and I have this disconnected regardless, unless I'm traveling or I'm using it, or if I have it charging for the afternoon. So rarely do I ever leave this on 24/7. So really it's just a protection mechanism for me, as well as it has a Bluetooth. It has a Bluetooth app, and well, here's the Bluetooth antenna. Okay, so it's Bluetooth connected to your smartphone, and you download the app, and you'll be able to read all the different parameters, the different currents that are going in, out, what the voltage levels are, and I don't know about all the other features, but I'll have to play with that. Anyways, so I'm in the process of hooking this up. You go to wire these up, you got to make sure and double check that you get the right numbering correct on the wires. So the first wire, the black one, number 1, that goes to the negative. The next wire, right there, okay, that goes to the first positive on the first positive of the first cell. Alright, the next wire, that goes to the next positive, and so on. So you have to make sure that you follow the order of pins 1 through, so this one has 14 wires, so you want to go in order, keep the cells in order. Okay, so to cell 1, to cell 2, to cell 3, to cell 4, to cell 5, etc. Very important. And then after you have that all wired on, then you're going to want to take your voltmeter and do a voltmeter check, just to make sure you haven't mixed things up, because if you get things wrong, you could damage your BMS. So the battery cable that came with the battery management system is only a 4-gauge cable. My other one was a 2-gauge cable, so I'm going to take this screw off and replace this cable with the other one. Might as well have a little bit better quality cable. Well, I have everything mounted. I just have to plug the sensing cables in. That's what I'm going to be doing next. I'm going to have to make a little mount though for for this because I'm just so crammed in here. It's kind of floating right now, so I'll have to put it up on some blocks. Anyway, the next step will be plugging the cables in. I've just finished doing continuity checks. So you measure from your negative to every single pin, and it should go up by about 3.3 volts per cell. Whatever your cell voltage is, it'll go up in those increments. And so I went through every pin, and every one came out correct. So I know the wiring is good. Just finished plugging the cables in. I now have a blue light. It beeped and I heard the relay clicking, so everything should be live. I'll just turn my breaker back on. This is my auxiliary breaker. And now my auxiliary should be back on. And yeah, I can see my 1 meter is reading good voltage. Everything looks good. So now I'll have to get the my phone out and activate the app, get that working.
Kilometers an hour is my top speed. So I'm back in the water again, testing my setup with my new Elco 20 horsepower motor, and I'm moving along quite quickly right now at 11 kilometers an hour into the wind. Of course, I'm drawing quite a bit of power. I'm using up about 3 kilowatts of power right at the moment. I'm going to have to make some adjustments again. Move the battery bank again forward like I had it last year, but on the opposite side of the boat, so it'll be on the port side of the boat. One of my problems right now is with the battery bank at the back and the motor weighing an extra 50 pounds over my Torpedo. There's too much weight at the back again. see that the back tabs are underwater, so I need to bring the back end up probably a couple inches, and I'll be moving the battery bank forward. So just getting, I've ordered the cable for that, and that should be in by the next few days. Well, I'm back in the water again, testing my Elco motor. The water pump issue has been fixed. I have a good water stream coming out now. Need to move the battery bank forward again, but this time I'm going to put it on the port side because I've just got too much weight in the back, because the motor weighs about 50 pounds more than my Torpedo motor did, and plus having the batteries back there, that adds about another 50 pounds of weight. So I'll move the battery bank forward over to underneath the front bunk seat. I'll do that on the weekend, next few days. I've got the wire on order. Things are working pretty good. I want to be checking all the wattage used by the motor. I want to check the wattage use of the motor per speed, and right now I'm thinking that I don't have enough power to get it up planing like I thought I